Well, your question is about coupling, how people become couples. Of course, it's a big change because people are used to living alone and now suddenly they have to share their room with somebody else. That begins with coupling, with weddings, with marriages. Perhaps you're already a couple. So what happens in a relationship? I've made already a few number of videos on this. But in any case, now that the question has arisen about coupling, let me give you some inputs, whatever I know or what I can think. In the Minecraft number 27, yes, this is the 27th innings, this is the 27th part of the Minecraft. So when you talk about coupling, obviously there's a change from being single to being couple, to be living alone to live with somebody else. Now that the dynamics have changed. So primarily, the courtesies and the composure of your behavior will be assessed by the other persons. Are you courteous enough? Are you adequately composed in your expressions of your behavior? The next thing is to have consensus about everything. Now, consensus may not come automatically. Like somebody will decide this is the kind of room interior decoration we need. But somebody else, a spouse, will have a different opinion. You need to know how to cultivate a consensus. So courtesy in behavior, composure in your expressions, and now we have come to cultivating consensus on what to purchase. Maybe a car. You need to go to a group to do counseling. You need to know how the group dynamics. When you're a couple and you have difference of opinion and you want arbitrators, you want somebody to mediate, then you need to do a group counseling. So are you adept at expressing yourself in a group? Maybe as you're a couple, two people coming together from different kind of upbringing. Your formative years were different. Your tastes are different. Your behavior has been molded by your neighborhood, by your community. So, and your culture. Maybe you are fitting into a certain culture and you've uprooted yourself from that specific culture and you are in another with a spouse who has come from a different culture. So how do you come to understanding about each other's culture and why they behave the way that they do? See, you may have a set principles and standards and maybe some concepts how things should pan out itself in front of you. Maybe your value systems which you hold very dearly and intimately to you. How intense are you knitted into your community, your culture, your upbringing and your neighborhood and all these concepts that you are carrying along with you as you come to be a spouse now. So now these in transactions, when these differences, when these different behaviors become evident, then can you accept it? Can you accept it? Can you be inclusive? Now these values, this needs to be revisited. Obviously there is a lot of conducive common grounds because what you're seeking is collective progress. Everybody is bound by some patterns of behavior, some habits that just may not change overnight. So are you insisting on your spouse that they mutate or they disrupt their existing habits and patterns? Maybe it's a habit and pattern of a group of people that they are fitted into. So perhaps your demand may be an unrealistic expectation of your spouse. So you need to focus on what is functional, what is the practicality of things. When you look at collective interest and common progress, there are a lot of grounds you need to understand where together that you can achieve things that you want to achieve. Not in individual, selfish, personal, private tastes, especially now that you have agreed to be a couple. So what is the objective? What is the core objective? What was your objective when you decided to be a couple? Is it to satisfy a specific need of yours? Is it to give away something, an attention, to a loyalty to somebody else? Is it to have somebody along with you as a life partner, as an associate, somebody to link with, somebody maybe a companion, and people call it soulmate? So what was your original concerns that drove you to be a couple? Maybe to progeny, children. So you need to revisit such kind of your intense and intimate need by which you have decided that you want to be a couple in the first place. Because the core objectives, when you're establishing core objectives, then you can move over some little petty difficulties. You have to increase your capacity and your capability to cope. What is your capacity to cope and adapt to changes? Yes, things will change. Your situations will change. Your environments will change. Your circumstances will change. So at all this time, do you have the capacity and the capability to cope, to adapt to changes? That is where I strongly recommend severe subscription to pranayama, to various kind of breathing techniques, because breathing techniques have a lot of secrets, how to make your mind flexible, to come out of rigidity and fixation that your mind may be confined to. Meditations as an Indian system, as an Indian civilization, there are a lot of meditations that makes your mind more supple, more malleable, ductile, more flexible, that you can adapt. You have the capacity to adapt to changes. Because this coupling, whether wedded or not, coupling is very costly. A lot of emotional investment, a lot of intelligence investment. It is laborious at times to hold on, to make each other comfortable with each other. So a lot of investments, a lot of sacrifices. Are you ready for sacrifices and austerities? Yes, you need to choose maybe a simplified living, full of austerity, because you got to give up on a lot of your indulgences, your whims and fancies. You are living at your behest alone, because now you got to accommodate another minds into it. Maybe mother-in-laws, father-in-laws. So it's a lot of people will start coming into your the way that you live as a couple. So what about your capacity to evolve, to adapt, to change? The change is going to come anyway. Are you adept at your conversational skills, your communication skills? Continue to learn better communication, better conversation. Keep the dialogue going. Do not keep focus only on your cash and property and wealth and other resources. Yes, these are needed, but cash and property and other resources are tools to make your living comfortable and convenient. Come out of this sense of ownership of everything, that you are in command and in control of things. No, when you're dealing with a couple with different kind of mindsets, sometimes the other person will resent your excessive command and control, will resist your excessive command and control, will hesitate your excessive command and control, maybe even give you rebuttal, maybe even give you a backlash if you are confined to a system of instructions, command and control. So negotiations, bargaining, communication, dialogue, conversation perhaps is a better method, a better approach, a better attitude than this command and control. Avoid at any cost verbal cuss words and verbal curses. That is going to make you look old-fashioned or make you look inadept for coupling. It does not look any fashionable if you use cuss words and languages that are irritating to other people. Look at words that joins people together and avoid words that are deterrent, that will create rift, that will create split among people. Avoid such words. Get a vocabulary that is very comforting to the listener. For example, instead of telling my people, do not disturb me for 1 hour, I tell them, in the next 1 hour, is there any service that you will need from me? If you do not need any service from me till the next 1 hour, then it's a better time for me. If I communicate this way, then giving a command and control, do not disturb me, the attitude of the listener is different. So choose your words carefully. Sometimes you may be caught red-handed, telling lies, red-handed, being dishonest, you may be caught red-handed. Sometimes you may catch the other person red-handed. Already is embarrassing to those people. Attempt to tell them the reasons by which you are of discomfort by by that they are caught red-handedly, instead of carrying it forward and keeping it to your brain and thinking of vengeance and vindications. Get out of it. Somebody is caught red-handed, maybe over expenditure, maybe dishonesty in some sort, maybe something that they have not revealed to you. They're caught red-handed. Make them not to feel guilty. It's very important that you do not instill guilt in other people, especially whom that you are living with, because then you're going to have to deal with somebody who's already having bad time and already feeling guilty is more harsher for you. Some mannerisms which are crass behavior, cringing, must be erased, must be eliminated, obliterated, all cringing expressions and crass expressions. Get refined, get little more sophistication and pleasantness. Other people want to see some good etiquettes in you of pleasantness that they are willing to deal with you. We have started with basic that there's a good chemistry between these two people who are in coupling. Maybe the chemistry is changed. So the chemistry will decide on how deep you are bonded. Is your bonding strong? Is the chemistry there? Is there an agreement to give and take? These are things that you have to revisit. And sometimes you need to be little informal about things. Little informal does not mean you got to just be too casual, that you express some crazy behavior which may jeopardize, which may bring casualty in your friendship. Sometimes the spouses can also behave like friends. So for that you got to be very mostly precise and accurate, and don't allow your craziness to bring and your casualness to bring casualties in friendship. That means ensure at all times, whatever you're going through, you must ensure there's a good rapport, how to build cordiality and how to remain friendly. So even when you have to cross each other, be friendly, so that there could be some clash, but do not compromise on your friendliness, on rapport and in cordiality. Very important is for you to develop your intelligence that your comprehension of what's going on, your perspective. Sometimes your perspective is not giving you accurate information. Your comprehension and your cognition of how the situation is wanting to give you a message. What is the message this hostile situation is communicating to you? Are you able to read that what's going on around you? When that situation, the environment changes, are you able to read it? Comprehension and cognition of your intelligence must be getting some attention. There are rights in a conjugal relationships. There are scientific data on how to best to upbring of children. What are the concerns of children? These are also for you to understand. The concerns of why you have become a couple, maybe to beget children. And if that is a commitment, then you've got to ensure that happens by staying together, working together, talking to each other, because the children deserves a great parentage or parenthood. Now we come to a point number 23, which is about giving care and cure. Are you the cure, or are you the one that the spouse is seeking care from? Are you there for that spouse as a dependable, credible, predictable giver of care and who cures? Well, the point number 24 can be the characteristics. There are multiple characteristics that you need to scrutinize, that you need to analyze, because people have various characteristics which are very base to those people. Then you need to be a little more inclusive of multiple variety and diversity of characteristics of other people. The way you accept them with all their irritating behavior also, because they are complete with all such behaviors. So can you accept them with all their irritating behavior that even could annoy you? Now you got to meditate, do breathing techniques, do your yoga, get a me time, learn relaxation techniques, and do meditation programs, so your mind gets deeper and deeper and your mind gets vaster and expanded, so that you can enrich yourself to be able to accept multiple and diverse kind of behavior. Coming back to coupling, number 25 point number 25, you can think of what is the first primary contract you had with people, with the other spouse. You had some agreements. Now who is breaching the initial intent, initial contract and agreement? The conditions that you had, which are the conditions that brought you together and you decided to become a couple. Leave alone as much as possible the entry to court, the legal attributes of things and the judiciary, because this is a relationship between two people. Keep it between two people as much as possible, and seek guidance from the extended family who are your well-wishers, who want the best for you. So these are the 26 points I've articulated for this Mindcraft number 27, and you have gone through Mindcraft number 18, number 3, number 5. If not, go over all the series and perhaps you can get some insight on how the mind works. This is dedicated to coupling. Enjoy, stay as a couple, and learn to overcome the differences.